So each machine is basically a static machine that you're going to be pushing on, and it's going to be registering the amount of force that you're pushing against it. You have to have 4.1 multiples of your body weight in order to generate the signals from the central nervous system that says you need to take the calcium and the vitamin D and all of the ingredients that's sitting in your body to go towards the place where it needs to go.
Well, welcome to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living podcast. I'm here with our guest, Berton Brown, owner of Osteostrong in Boca Raton and Juno Beach. Berton, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here.
Osteostrong, there's a lot of people with osteoporosis here in our nation. A lot of women that have stopped, they are no longer having their menstrual cycle. They are getting their DEXA scans. They are discovering that their bone density is decreasing every year. Is Fosamax the only option here for these women?
It most certainly is not.
Right. So tell us, Osteostrong here is designed for this demographic and target market here, correct? Where people wanting to improve their bone density without having to get on any harmful medications.
And that is true. I like to say, though, Osteostrong is for everybody that has bones, because everybody can benefit in one way, shape, or form from what we do in our center.
Yeah, great. Well, tell us about Osteostrong and what makes your center unique compared to other centers that are out there.
Well, we focus on the skeletal system, right? Increasing bone density, decreasing knee, back, joint pain through increasing through a physical way of our members coming in and pushing on our machines. So we are a wellness center that's focused solely on the building and strengthening of the skeletal system and increasing bone density.
Great. And so tell us about how Osteostrong came about.
Well, Dr. John Jaquish, the inventor of the Osteostrong equipment, built the prototype because his mother was going through osteoporosis, and he was trying to figure out a way that he could help her increase her bone density. And he's a biomedical engineer, and he figured that the way that, and he found and discovered something called Wolff's Law. Wolff's Law states that bone growth and remodels in response to the forces that you're placing upon the bone. So he felt that if we were able to exert enough force on our bones to be able to enact Wolff's Law, we'd be able to increase our bone density. And hence, that's where the founder of the equipment had started his process. So Wolff's Law also states, and Wolff's Law was over 100 years ago when they were researching, and they had found that the strongest humans with strongest bones with humans were in gymnasts, because they were constantly jumping and impacting and creating the force that was necessary to strengthen their bones and keep their bones as strong as possible. So our equipment basically simulates impact in a safe environment where our members are pushing against the equipment at their own effort. So nobody's pushing against you, it's all your effort. So therefore, someone like myself can jump on the machine, and I can push 2,500 pounds on my legs, while my mother was on it just the other day, and she pushed 1,000 pounds onto her legs. But that's where we're going to see that the shearing of the bone and being to shift and not to break, of course, because your body's not going to, it has its own little mental break in there that says, okay, you push too hard, you're going to pull back. And so we have, through the process, we have our session coaches that bring you through the process one-on-one for every single session, so that they make sure that you're doing everything correctly, you're lined up properly, and that's how we do everything safely in our center.
Mm-hmm. Great. And so how long has Osteostrong been around? When did it first begin?
That's a good question, actually. I was asked that the other day, and I did not know the answer.
Okay.
um, so I had found Osteostrong about 6 years ago.
Yeah, tell us about your journey
hmm
getting to where
So
you were 6 years ago to where you are today.
yeah, one of our investors, a rather famous um, person called Tony Robbins. He's an investor in the company, and I happened to be at one of his events 6 years ago, and I had found this equipment was absolutely completely interesting to me, being that I also have an engineering background myself, and thought there's really something to this. I've never seen anything like this before, and it was always just in the back of my mind thinking, there's got to be something that I could figure out how this needs to be in Palm Beach County. And 6 years ago, there was none in Palm Beach County. And so just fast forward a few years later, I, as an investment advisor, started helping my clients with their Medicare stuff. And so I was working with a lot of my creating an agency now and talking with people about what medications they're taking, what kind of plans that they're going to need, what drug plans they're going to need, and there was always a sticking point when it came to osteoporosis, and there was a line that a lot of people would draw when they would say, I'll take the statins, I'll take the blood pressure medications, but I've heard such terrible stories about these osteoporosis drugs, these injections, these pills that I felt that there was something that I could do to bring this all together. And when I realized that I was talking to the same people that needed my help to help improve their wellness, not just save them a few bucks on insurance, that's when I decided to take the plunge last year and look to open the Osteostrong Juno Beach, located in Jupiter, Florida. And I happened to be going to Boca to see the closest center that was opened right in 2020, just in time to close for COVID and then reopen. But they had basically, the former owners had been focusing on another business, and I decided that I was going to take that one as well. So I have both locations. One's in Central Boca at Palmetto and Powerline, and the new location that just opened up in Juno Beach. And so that's kind of the journey about how I've gotten to this particular point.
Got it. Great. So I love that concept of low impact, putting sheer force on the bone at the patient's own kind of they're pushing against themselves basically. So tell us about some of the technology you have there at the
hmm
Osteostrong centers in Boca and Juno Beach that help these women get more calcium into their bones.
hmm So just to answer your question from previously, and I wasn't sure of the exact year, but OsteoStrong was founded in 2011. So it's been in business. Only been out for about 12 years.
Okay.
So it's taken a little while, right? The second question we always get is, does insurance cover this? And well, it's kind of too new, but I'm really in the forefront of trying to get the franchise involved with the insurance side of the business, because we can help so many more people if we can make it so much more affordable for them.
Exactly.
But go back to your question. So we have four main pieces of equipment in our center. It's called Spectrum. We have the upper growth trigger, the lower growth trigger, the postural growth trigger, and the core growth trigger. So each machine is basically a static machine that you're going to be pushing on, and it's going to be registering the amount of force that you're pushing against it. So we have, from the Wolff's Law that I mentioned earlier, you have to have 4.1 multiples of your body weight in order to generate the signals from the central nervous system that says you need to take the calcium and the vitamin D and all of the ingredients that's sitting in your body to go towards the place where it needs to go to help build the bones. So, swimming or cycling, there's really no multiples of body weight there. Brisk walking is 1 to 2 multiples of your body weight. Running is closer to 3. So when a doctor will tell you, oh, we'll increase your bones, you're going to have to, go to the gym and work out. You still have to be able to push 4 multiples of your body weight. So if I'm 200 pounds, that means I have to get over 800 pounds of pressure on my bones to be able to create the stimulus that is going to increase my bone density.
So how is that accomplished?
That is stimulated by the impact of our own members pushing against the machines in a static way. So we're not dynamically moving here. We're not moving back and forth like when you go to the gym, you're lifting weights and the weights are moving up and down. So because the machines are static, we're able to push so much more without it move. It's not going to move against us. And so it's most notable when you see it on the lower growth trigger, because when you're pushing against the machine, it looks kind of like a leg press. And you say, well, how come you push against the machine and your knees and your kneecaps actually come down? Because you're actually compressing the legs and the hips to create that ability to be able to see them come down. And like I said, the 4.1 multiples of body weight is where we see it on our screen every single week that you come in. And it's only 15 minutes, by the way, 15 minutes one time a week, which is, it's amazing. And it's seen on the screen, the amount of force that you are able to exert. And it saves it into the cloud so that when you come back the next week, you'll see where you are in the previous weeks. And so it also marks where the rapid growth trigger is, which we input the person's weight into the system. And so then it's determined what 4.1 multiples of their body weight is, and it marks it on the screen. So as long as we're hitting that rapid growth trigger, we know that our central nervous system is going to lay the bone and increase the bone density, the joints, the connective tissues around the bone. As a matter of fact, people that have had knee replacements and joint replacements are designed for impact. So when we have our members that have knee replacements and joint replacements in here, they actually strengthen the bone around the implant, which means they're less likely to have to go back under the knife to fix the implant. Or maybe even not even having to replace another knee or another joint. So that's one of the many benefits of our center. In addition to that, somebody with A1C levels, high A1C levels, we're seeing that doing this particular protocol actually can help reduce glucose levels in the blood because of the marrow that's going inside of the bones. And so it's great for diabetics, and it's great for those that have osteoporosis, osteopenia, and it's also excellent for athletes too, because if you're hitting a plateau at the gym, it might quite be possible that your bone density and your bones are not strong enough to take on more muscle. So when you're strengthening the bones and the bones get stronger, then they can lay thicker muscle and the thicker muscle on top of it.
Wow, that's great.
That's
And
why I
so
say it's for everybody,
your
anybody that has bones.
your technology then will help to you can measure to see if they're at that 4 uh 4x mark then. Is that what
Hmm.
you're saying with their if that's qualifying then to help strengthen the bone?
That's right.
You're able to measure it each week to see where they were at before and where they're making strides and improvements.
Hmm. One of the other questions we get, well, if this is great, why don't I do it 2 or 3 or 4 times a week, right? And it's just so happens more is not always better, and that's what a lot of people, think that too much of a good thing is great, but it's all moderation, right? So because of the fact that the four machines are hitting every area of your body, the upper is targeting the arms and the chest and the shoulders, the lower is targeting the hips, the legs, and the knees and the ankles, and the core is the front basically, and the postural is the back. So you're hitting every area of the body. So therefore, just as if you were going to go to a gym, you're not going to work out your muscle, your bicep every single day you go in. And it just so happens that it takes about 7 to 10 days for the body to want to get the next signal. So therefore, that's why we can do what we do in about 15 minutes, one time a week.
Hmm. Great. Yeah, that's really convenient because we're living in a fast-paced society. A lot of people don't have a lot of time to be spending too much time in a gym or in a center where you're having to exercise. So 15 minutes a week is very doable.
Hmm.
Very doable.
Yeah.
So then how long do they have to do this before they start to see results?
We can definitely start to see results. It depends on what you're looking for. We've heard of members' pain being reduced in a matter of a month to 2 months. They start to feel like that they feel better. Their the pain that they thought was just because they were getting old uh, is starting to kind of alleviate. It's starting to um, melt away. So we can see results depending on what we're trying to accomplish. Now, if you're trying to take somebody that has low bone density and trying to increase bone density, that does take time. So, we've heard of members in a year see DEXA scan improvements of a point. I've heard of a member in Boca that she's been doing this for 2 years, and she's decreased, or I guess increased, from negative to less negative by over 2 points. So these are, of course, testimonials and uh, anecdotal evidence, but there are studies, and there are studies on our website, osteostrong.me, when you go into the science portion, where you'll be able to see a lot of studies that they've been utilizing to show that this does work. And in addition to that, there is a new study coming out next year that's going to validate also what we do here.
So they're getting like 52 sessions a year then, basically, correct?
Hmm.
What happens if they miss a week?
Well, if you miss a week, it's just like you didn't get into the gym that week. It's okay. You're not going to fall off the wagon, so to speak. And some people do not make it every single week, and it's you just pretty much kind of pick up where you left off, right? You're not going to fall too much further back, and because of the fact that bones take a while to build and increase bone density, it's because you're missing a week. You're not going to end up in a position where you're not going to receive benefits.
Mm.
And it's also not going to go away as quickly either.
What else do they do at home that can help them maintain their results?
We encourage them to continue to go to the gym, continue to work out, continue to improve their cardiovascular system. Weight training is always great. It's not going to hit your 4.1 multiples, but having stronger muscles can help you. Can help also with the equipment as well. And so we encourage active lifestyle. We encourage alignment. We encourage them to see their chiropractors and their functional medicine people that can help them to make sure that they also get the proper nutrients and possibly vitamins and supplements to make sure that they have the proper materials to be able to build and strengthen their bones, and to avoid some of those things that could possibly be taking away from their bone density, things like maybe reducing alcohol intake. Or we have several other things in our center that we give to our members that give them a pretty good protocol and pretty good um, process.
Hmm. Great. And can you tell us of any success stories that you've had in your centers since you've opened up that you can think of?
I can tell you when since the Boca location has been open, it's been open for 3 years, and I acquired the location in February. There was this one lady that always sticks out to me because she just runs up to me in so excitement, being that she says, you know, before I found Osteostrong, I could barely get out of bed. I was in such pain in my knees. And she said, after 3 months of coming here, my knee pain went away. It vanished. So then I could get up, I could walk around. I started walking around the lake, and you know what? I've dropped 75 pounds because now I can be active. This
Mhm.
place has saved my life. That is one of the stories that stand out to me. I have another lady that just started at our center in Juneau. She used to live in Sarasota. She says, I used to have osteoporosis thanks to Osteostrong in Sarasota. I now have osteopenia, and she was one of the first people to sign up before we even opened. She's like, I'm so happy that you're here.
That's great.
So
You
those are
talked
two stories for you.
about knee joint replacements. I take it you're referring to total knee replacements. Is that correct?
Yes.
So tell us, talk about that a little bit more. You had mentioned about the bones being strengthened around the knee joint replacement and avoiding surgeries altogether. Can you talk a little bit about that more? Because
Yeah.
there's
So
a lot
there's
of people that have knee pain
mhm.
in this world, and how does OsteoStrong fit in with helping people with these conditions?
Well, I can tell you that the founder of the company, Dr. John Jaquish, he also had bulging discs, has bulging discs in a situation from a lot of impact from rugby, and he said through his process, strengthening the vertebrae around it was able for him to be able to reduce his pain. There was also I've heard about on the west coast of California, or west coast in California, where obviously they're a lot more progressive with their medical practices, that there are um, orthopedic surgeons that recommend the osteostrongs over there before they go under the knife and after they've gone through recovery for these knee and joint replacements, because they want the bones to be as strong as possible so that when they put the knee in place, that it's not going to go anywhere and it's going to improve their their record, right? This
Yeah.
person doesn't have to come back because it rejected the implant. If they're able to have the bones as strong as possible around the knee implant, then that will really help the surgeon be able to place it properly. And there's another side effect, and dentists know this, is that if you're taking certain bone, building drugs, anabolics, and Prolia injections, and these types of things that they're prescribed, they do not want to operate on you, and they do not want to place implants and do things in your mouth because the teeth are actually bones as well, and they will split apart and fall apart from these particular medications. And I've actually seen the forms where you fill them out and they say, are you taking these medications? And if you check the box, yes, they're like, yeah, we're not going to touch this.
Hmm. So people are taking what type of medications that are affecting their bones are you referring to? Talking about steroids?
Yeah, as I'm not a dentist, I do know that certain of these medications, so these they're not increasing bone density. What they're really doing is they're really just taking the inside of the bone and basically moving it to the outside.
What are you talking about, like Fosamax? If people are taking like,
Hmm.
you're talking about to increase their bone density. You're saying if a patient has are taking Fosamax, then the dentist is going to be hesitant to do work on the teeth because the bones aren't strong.
That's right.
Okay, that's what you're saying. Got it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, and what's great about Osteostrong is that it's getting calcium inside the bone. It's not just layering it outside the bone like a pharmaceutical drug would.
That's
And that's
right.
what Fosamax does. It lays the calcium on the outside of the bone. Actually makes the bone more brittle rather than stronger. Although the
Yes.
DEXA scan will show that there's more calcium, yet it's kind of a false flag because calcium's really not in the bone. It's just on the outside of the bone. So,
Yeah. That's
well,
exactly right.
and then why is it that it can do this kind of effect in such a short period of time? If you're doing four areas, the upper body, lower body, the core, and the posture, that's about um 3.5 minutes per session per
Hmm.
area. How can it accomplish so much in such a short period of time and in just once a week? Can you talk a little bit about that? Let's say there's some people that are skeptical, like, "Oh,
Hmm.
how's this really gonna do this 15 minutes once a week?" How does that technology and how do they know that it just takes 3 minutes in each area to accomplish that?
Well, it's basically just one set. So, a typical OsteoStrong session will be when you walk in on your scheduled appointment. We have scheduled appointments. You come in and you meet and greet the session coach that's going to be at the front to bring you through. And you start on a vibration plate at about 30 hertz, and you start to warm up the central nervous system to receive the benefits. And so you can do things on the vibration plate. You start to improve your balance. You can focus on uh, different things on the vibration plate because we also want to prevent fractures, of course, but we also want to have the ability to improve our balance enough so that maybe you won't fall at all.
Yeah.
So The vibration plate is a great place where we usually start our members on for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we start the osteogenic loading, which is what it's called, osteogenic loading. So we'll usually start at the upper, then move to the lower, then the core, and then the postural. Because when you're doing the session, you're pushing at your own effort as hard as you possibly can, and then you come out of it and you're really on the machine, each machine for about 30 seconds to a minute, where you're pushing on it on your effort and you're exerting the amount of force. And you only need to do this one time to generate that signal within the body that says, oh, look, our bones just bent, our bones just kind of bent a little bit. So therefore, we have to the signals are going to be sent to the bones to grab the materials, right? Grab the calcium and get it to the places where it needs to go. And that's how it works. And then we'll finish on the vibration plate as well. Have our member sits on it for a few minutes on the back end as well to kind of set it in place, right? To have the central nervous system working for you. But it's basically one set per machine, and it's a time frame. It's not doing reps. It's just like if you're going to use gym nomenclature, it's one rep as a sustained amount of force where you're pushing on it and trying to get to that particular force that's showing up on the screen.
Hmm. And so they're standing on the vibration plate, then they're sitting on it. Did they do push-ups on it as well for the upper body?
We have members that do push-ups and sit on planks on the vibration plates when they're before or after their session. They can do that. Most of our members do just do a little bit of a stretch. We have what's called a vibe stretch, which is a huge cage that you can hold on to, stretch out your chest, your back, and hang from if you're able to do so. And just it warms up the muscles, it warms up the nerves to be able to receive and push at your best effort.
Yeah. Well, this has been fascinating. This concept of this hack that has been created with Osteostrong to get calcium back in the bones sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
15 minutes once a week loads the bone. You don't doesn't sound like you need a lot of time. All you need is enough time to send a signal to the brain, lay down more calcium in the bone. Is that the
hmm
concept basically?
That's right. That's all you're doing is you're sending the signal, right? The bone bends, like Wolf's Law is saying,
Yeah.
and then that's creating the stimulus that you need for your body to say, "Wow, we got to get stronger."
Yeah. And then every 7 to 10 days, just keep doing that and just keeps loading calcium onto the bone.
hmm
That
That's
sounds
right.
great. Well, how can they get a hold of you, Burton? What's the best way for our audience to reach you so they can get connected here with OsteoStrong and start getting the bone stronger?
Yeah. So we have the website osteostrong.me is the franchise website. So if you're not in the Palm Beach County area, you can find a location near you. You can call the Juno Beach Center directly, 561-867-8362. You can also call the Boca Raton location if you're closer to that one. That's 561-210-3210. And like I mentioned, the Palmetto and Powerline Road is where the Boca location is. And Osteostrong Juno Beach is on US 1, just across the street from the Turtle Center, just north of Donald Ross Road. And so those are the two locations that I have. And as a member, you can choose you become a member basically. So you sign up as a member. It's a membership based system where you come in, you have your weekly appointment, you come in, you do your session, and you're done for the week. We also have additional equipment on site. We have things like red light therapy, compression therapy that can help aid recovery. Red light therapy has a lot of health benefits as well. And so there's several other things that you can upgrade your membership to because some people, and I've heard about even in the Alabama Center, I know the owner. He says that the farthest somebody drives, they drive an hour and a half to come do this once a week. We have people that drive from Stewart to come to Juneau, and they used to go to Boca. So now they're like, when are you going to open in Stewart? And I hear, when are you going to open in Boynton? And I said, let's get these two going, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, great. Great. Well, hey, thanks so much for your time and sharing about Osteostrong. And um, I'm sure our audience is excited, especially right here in Juno Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, Jupiter area.
Hmm.
I think it's a no-brainer. I think anybody who has who wants to get their bones stronger should consider giving this a shot and seeing how things go. And so, thank you so much for your time, Burton. I appreciate it, and we're glad that you're here in South Florida helping people get their bones stronger and avoiding osteoporosis and deadly fractures and the like. So,
Yes.
thanks so
Hmm.
much for your time. So, this is Dr. Derek Taylor. You've been on the show, Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living with Berton Brown, owner of Osteostrong in Boca Raton in Juno Beach. Show is fascinating. Give them a call. And do you guys have any special offer for those listening here on the show here, Burton? You can, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but giving somebody an incentive to give you a call.
So the incentive we give is that we give the offer of being able to come in and do a complimentary session. So
Yeah,
we'll
that's
take.
great. That's
Hmm.
awesome. And they can try it and experience it firsthand.
Yes,
Get a
that's right.
sample. Great. Awesome. Well, give Burton a call and try it out. I know I'm going to try it out. When can I get in there and give it a whirl?
The Juno Beach location is currently open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I would love to have you in the center, Dr. Taylor.
All right. I'll try to get in this week sometime.
Okay, excellent.
All right. This is Dr. Derek Taylor signing off.
You've been listening to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living podcast. We hope that you found great value in this episode. For more information about the Taylor Method and our offices, visit www.drderektaylor.com. Make sure to tune in next week as Dr. Taylor will be providing more knowledge and resources about pain-free living.